Good morning, good evening, hello everyone. I'm super excited to be here today. If you've not caught the previous streams, my name is Jillian Qualley. I am the learning content producer for Endless Studios, and as the name would imply, I help produce learning content. I help people learn game design, both like elements of game design as well as the tools that we use in the industry to make the games that we put out. Super excited to be here, as I said. If you guys haven't caught the past few streams, what we've been doing is we've been working through this little kart racer project that Endless Studios developed for learning purposes, and we have been modding it to make it all our own. So today we are going to be covering how to edit the track that is already in place for the game, like the racetrack around a level. We're going to talk a little bit about design and theme as well, just to make sure that we all are up to speed with making sure our games make sense thematically and also that they're fun to play and they're functional and everything. So I hope you all are doing well, and I hope that if you have any questions, you feel comfortable to let me know. I'll answer them to the best of my ability, and we're going to see what we can create today. So I hope you guys are excited. I definitely am. And so I think I'm ready to get started. We are just going to be working in Unity today. This process of editing the track probably won't take too long, but like I said, we are going to talk a little bit about design and theme, just to make sure that everyone is kind of on track there. So I think I'm ready to jump into Unity if you guys are. I'm going to do a very quick review of what we did in the last stream, just show you guys how everything got done there, and then we will get into modding the racetrack. Very exciting. I have coffee, very, very happy about that, and yeah, I think we're ready. So we are going to jump into Unity. Here is our lovely kart racer. We're all very familiar with it. And by the way, if you guys don't know where to get this, we did send out a little link in Discord, and I think also on the platform now. I think we have a presence on the Endless Studios platform now if you want to download this kart racer and start playing with it for yourself. And yeah, as usual, if you guys have any questions or concerns, you can reach out to me on Discord at JillianXEndless. I'm in the Endless Studios full Discord. And yeah, so Unity time. We're in our kart racer. As you can see, a couple of our cars have been modified. This is what we did in the last stream. I showed you guys how to go on the website TurboSquid to download free assets that you can then import into your game. Just a word of warning about those as well. You need a .fbx or a .obj file in order to import it correctly into Unity. The cars may or may not have a texture that comes with them. I will probably show that off when we go to polish this game a little bit next week. And yeah, that's pretty much what we did. So just a quick review of how you get a car or a model, whatever you want. It doesn't have to be a car in the game. You just download the file as a .fbx or obj. You go to import new asset under assets. You find your file. It is added to your assets folder down here. Again, I recommend that you organize this a little more, but I just want these to be easily accessible, so I just kept them in the root folder, but I would put them under art or prefabs or anything like that. Probably not prefabs, because prefabs specifically have like code attached to them. They're files that are like the name implies, prefabricated with all these different functions and things tied to them. So I would just put them in art or just leave them in your root folder if you just want to easily access them. And then you drag and drop it in, you select the racer that you want. In this case, we have the heavy racer unlocked. You go to the visual roots folder and you place your file in the visual roots folder at the very top, turn off the original cart, and then you set the position to 000 or whatever the position may be to get it looking right. and then you've got a cart. So that's pretty much all we did last time. Pretty easy stuff. I know a lot of people can struggle with that just with the visual roots folder being kind of strange. And there's like a lot of meshes in there that are easy to mess with, but if you follow those directions, you should be able to get whatever model you want as your racer in your game. So if there are any questions about that already, please let me know. But before we get into modding the track, let's talk a little bit about theme and keeping a consistent theme throughout your racer, because that's kind of the whole point of this. We are making new levels for the game, new scenes, if you will. If you go to the scenes folder down here in the assets sponge, you can see a couple different levels here. We have a city level. We are currently in the desert level. There's a fast food themed level, a sci-fi level. These are all things that just come with the game, and they all have very specific themes and objects in them. And that's kind of the key point to doing this project, is to make a level that is completely your own theme, your own ideas, and your own assets. I mean, besides the ones that you download, of course. So like I think I said in a previous stream, there was a group that I worked with that wanted to do like a realistic theme to their game. So they took the base of the city level and just kind of edited it to look how they wanted to, and then they incorporated real cars for the racers. They added realistic objects and like buildings and cities and stuff, and they edited the terrain of the world to be closer to what they wanted. And that is all like great practices for maintaining a consistent theme with your levels. So in this case, we are putting real cars into the game. We're going to be editing the track today, and you can make it as crazy as you want, but the point is to keep everything sort of on the same theme and make sure that you're not going to have a random object that makes no sense in your world. That just is, I won't say it's bad game design, it's definitely creative. And if you find a model you really want to use that isn't necessarily on theme with everything else, there are ways to incorporate it for sure. But for our purposes, we're going to try to keep everything on like a realistic theme if we can. But we'll see. We can play around with Turbo Squid some more, potentially in a future stream. We're going to be editing the terrain that you see all around us, the objects, the everything here, in the next stream tomorrow. But for now, let's just stick with what we're working with here. So with all that being said, I definitely want to hear about what themes you guys are thinking about doing for your kart racer. Again, sky's the limit, honestly. It really does depend a little bit on the objects that you can find on Turbo Squid and what things make sense together. You can even do like a Pokemon theme. I've seen people do. You can find like free models of Pokemon on Turbo Squid, and you can make all the racers Pokemon. You can do fun things with the terrain to make it kind of look like a Pokemon game. You can do pretty much anything you want there. So that's pretty much up to you. So definitely let me know what kind of themes you guys are thinking. I've seen like volcano levels. I've seen like spacey Mars levels. I've seen a lot of cool things that people have done with this racer, and I'd love, love, love to hear what you guys want to do. So let me know. So yeah, I think we're ready to start with the track editor if you guys are ready for that. This game that we built has an amazing built-in track editor for making our little racer project, and it's very easy to use, thankfully. Now, it will require a little bit of polish and quite a bit of testing to make sure that we're good to go. So, before we start actually editing the track, what I suggest you guys do is you maybe draw out a track in a program like Adobe Illustrator or just on paper too. I mean, paper prototyping, as you guys may have seen from other videos, has been it's like a super important part of making games, I feel. Paper prototyping is a really good way to test out ideas, kind of get the feel for the UI of the game and the general overall like feel of it. It's super important in like the development cycle of a game because if the paper prototype doesn't look exactly how you want to, it's easy to change. So for our purposes, I haven't really sketched out a track yet, but I suggest you guys do that. Let's actually zoom out a little bit if we can and take a look. We could also just play the game, but let's just take a tiny look around the track. Um, just in Unity itself, just to see where items are, where everything like bends and curves. The great thing about the track editor in this little program is that all of the geometry that you can change will change in a way that makes sense and it won't like break the game, which is obviously the goal of any game. No, don't break it, especially developing games. Just don't break it. Easier said than done, though, of course. But this track editor, which I will show you in like 2 seconds, does automatically adjust all the geometry, all of the physics of the game and the track itself in order to make sure that it still works and that it makes sense and that you can realistically drive around it. So it will edit various parts of it that you're not even touching just to make sure everything flows together nicely. But like I said earlier, it may require a tiny bit of polish. Sometimes the track can get a little bumpy. Sometimes if you do something too extreme, things will kind of not work out well. So we've gotten a little tour of the track as it is. And let's just play real quickly. Let's just do a very quick little play test. Let's do maybe a lap and just see how things flow. And then I'll get to changing it up a little bit. Now you can do some pretty intense things with the track editor. Wow, that's loud. That's okay, we'll deal with it. So we're just gonna do a quick little lap around, not focused on winning or anything. You have your little back camera there as well. We're gonna, oops, that was dumb. We're just going to go around the whole track, and as you can see, we're driving very smoothly. The AI is not getting stuck on anything, which is definitely something that we have to keep our eyes on. We may also be able to incorporate some obstacles onto the track if that sounds exciting to you guys. However, the AI, they don't really always know how to react to obstacles in the road. So that may be something that we do a little bit later into the life cycle of modding our game. So for now, we're just going to keep the track completely open and just let the AI, have a break. They can go around it, no problem. Or, oh, we're in first. Wow. Yeah, so I'm just going around checking to see if there's anything I really want to change about this track right off the bat. And I see a couple things that I may want to change later. Okay, well that was pretty much a full lap. So let's stop and let's get to changing it up. So let's zoom out a little bit. And so the way you change the track, let's get rid of this and this. You go to this race manager section here and you click the arrow and that'll bring you into the whole race manager screen. Now, if we click this arrow here, as you can see, there's something for the UI. We're not going to mess with that at all. That would probably not go well. So let's just click on track here. And as you can see, we have a bunch of options. The option we want is called track spline here, or spline. Don't really know how to say that, but that's okay. We're going to just click this arrow here, and as you can see, it comes up with all of these things called new node. And this is where we can manipulate the track a little bit. So these nodes, if I click on like the first one here, They are all specific little like joints of the track, I guess. I don't really know how else to describe them, but they're, as the name implies, little nodes that we can edit to change the track. And it highlights it, and it shows that we can manipulate them with the controls. So this is pretty much the basics of how you edit the track. You just click on a node. Let's double click on this one and go over here. And from here, you can use the arrows that appear when you click on a node. If we can get the arrows in frame here, and if you just click on those arrows, you can start manipulating the track. So we can move it up, we can move it down, can move it to make it a tighter curve. We can curve it a different way. There is something to mention though before we get super into changing this track. We have the terrain all around us. And if you don't either lower the terrain or just get rid of it entirely, your track will interact with the terrain in ways that we do not want. We do not want the track clipping into the ground because we're not going to be able to do anything. We're not going to be able to progress in the race if the track is clipping in the ground. So before you start messing with all these nodes, I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but that's okay. We are going to exit the race manager. We're going to look around, and we're just going to see, as we change the track, if the terrain interacts with it weirdly. The easy thing to do, though, is that we can just click on this terrain box under scene route, and it'll highlight all of the terrain in the game. And so from here, we can actually just get rid of it. We can move it. We can do pretty much anything we want with it to get it out of our way so we can make a clean track. I do also recommend, on top of moving the terrain, which we will do in a second, I do suggest if you want to keep the level intact as it kind of already was, I suggest you make an entirely new scene, or not make a scene, but make a copy of the scene. Whichever level you want to start with to edit, we're just going to start with the desert level. You can actually make a scene copy, and that scene will be copied, and you can work completely individually from the default desert level if you do that. So we are going to do that real quickly just to make sure that, again, the desert level is intact. I do have a backup of this whole game also on Unity in my hub, so I don't feel bad about messing with this one if we have to, but I do have a clean copy already in my hub, just in the background. So if we really get in over our heads, we can definitely refer to that just to see get like a clean start. So we are just gonna make a copy of the scene. So all you have to do is right-click on the desert level, I believe, and oh, that is incorrect, apparently. Ignore me. I'm just trying to make a copy of the scene, and for some reason, I'm completely blanking on how to do that. Game object, no. You have some more options here in the toolbar, I should mention. Those will just come with the game by default. There are some like plugins and stuff that you can mess with, but I don't suggest you really mess with them. So just keep that in mind. You may get some pop-ups when you load up this game as well, but for now, we're not going to do that. All right, so let's actually just go to Save As, and let's call this New Scene, and make sure that we get in our own scene. I know there is a way to completely copy the scene and make sure that it's its own thing in here, but for now, because I'm blanking out on it, again, very sorry, I'll show that in a future stream if I can, but we'll create a copy and we'll just mess with this desert level for now, just to make sure that it's okay. Oh, there we go, new scene. All right, so we are in the desert level now. We're in the new scene. We're good. All you have to do is save as. I know there's a way to copy it, but again, blanking. That's fine. So now we are free to mess with the scene pretty much however we want. So first thing I'm going to do before we get into editing the track is we are going to get rid of the terrain. We're going to get rid of all the terrain just so we're essentially floating in space. If you guys want to do it a different way, you can, but um, we really just want a blank slate with no terrain or geometry around to mess with how our track interacts with the world. So all you have to do is click on terrain. Don't try to rename it like I did, and just click delete. And there we go. We have nothing around us now. And we can also click on the geometry. And this is where all these humps and hills are in our kart racer. And we can also just get rid of that. So now we are quite literally floating in space, blank track, and now we can start changing it. So let's go back to Race Manager. Again, this is where you can edit the track. You click on track here, and you can click on various nodes and change them. So I'm just going to click on a few sort of random ones. And as you can see, the geometry does all flow together. So it makes sure that your track is still playable and that things aren't looking quite so strange when you edit things. So I'm just going to try to position my camera where I can see a lot of the track, and I'm just going to start moving things. Now, as you will quickly see, this does not move the items that are in the game as well. You need to move those on your own, and I will probably show you how you get the power-ups to move with the track as well. But for now, we are just going to change this a little bit. I'm not going to change this one because this is like the start and I don't want things to look too weird. And just so you guys know, I am double clicking to zoom into the track as we do things here. So I'm just keeping an eye on the whole track as I make minor changes to it. I'm using the arrows as opposed to this box here because, again, that box is for imprecise, like completely 3D movement, and that is not what I am about right now. We want to make sure that everything looks okay, flows together well. I'm gonna make this maybe do a little bit of a dip here. Yeah, you can get as creative with this as you want, and like I said, I do suggest that I do completely suggest that you make a sketch of maybe the track before and then the track after your changes, and again, do the save as, make a copy of the scene so that you don't mess with the desert level as it currently is, because if your track becomes unplayable for some horrible reason, we want to be able to fix it and make sure that we have a clean copy so that we can go back to it and change it. So like I said, for me, I'm just clicking on random nodes here to get some changes to happen. Don't really know which ones I've clicked on and which ones I haven't. I'm just manipulating it a little bit to make the track perhaps more fun, perhaps a little more hilly. I don't know. Let's say that maybe our theme is like a valley drive because we've got like these nice cars in our lineup here. Maybe we want to make it kind of like back roads in a valley. And so we're gonna later do some terrain changes. We're gonna do a whole bunch of stuff to make sure that that we can stick to our theme here. Let's change this a little bit, make that go out. Maybe in our hill here. Now, I'm not going to say that this is going to be a perfect track by any means. This will definitely be kind of strange. And yeah, as you can see, we did kind of manipulate it weirdly. So now our cars are floating in the middle of nothing. So I'm just going to click undo a few times, make sure that we are still on the track. There we go. Yeah, you do have to be a little bit careful about what you do change and how it manipulates the rest of the track, because since we programmed it to all kind of flow together with the correct geometry and make sure that it's still raceable, you can still manipulate it to where you fall out of the sky, and that is obviously not what we want. Little coffee break. So I think I've thoroughly messed with this track enough. I think it's pretty much different enough to where I think I'll notice a difference when we're messing with it. Now you also can rotate it a little bit, I believe, but I'm not going to do that right now because again, physics are a thing. And sometimes when you rotate it weirdly, sometimes it can mess with it, but we may have to do that as well. We may have to do that to smooth out the track. So I think what we're gonna have to do is just play test it, see how it's working. Oh, if you get this pop-up here, it's just saying that it is trying to open in prefab mode. All you have to do is click exit prefab mode. What prefab mode is where you're messing with the prefab here in the hierarchy. As you can see, the hierarchy isn't showing all of the other stuff that we have going on in this kart racer. It's just showing the race manager prefab and all the things that we changed in here. And you can't actually play the game unless you exit prefab mode. So it's just going to take you out of this little menu here. It goes back to normal, and here we go. So let's just race around a little bit, and I'm really going to take note of any bumpiness or hard turns or things that just aren't working properly. We're not going to see as many items on the track because we did move the track a little bit to where, as you can see, there are some items down there now. Again, we will move all those in a future stream and just show you guys how to make sure that items are still on the track. And again, you can start using programs like Blender to make obstacles. I've seen people do like traffic cones or like rocks in the way. Again, all kind of depends on what theme you want to go for, but for me, I'm just going to stick with the little item boxes for now, and we will move those up to the track in the future. So yeah, those guys are down there. It's fine. We don't need items. Who needs items? So I'm quite liking what I've done in my track. I haven't manipulated it too much to where it's unplayable, but I do like these various turns, the hills and the valleys. I think this is playing pretty much how I wanted to. I am going to polish it a little bit though, in a little bit. Let's get this guy out of the way. Let's see if we can do a full lap, and then we will exit, and we will see how it all goes. So that was a lap. Very fun, very cool. I didn't make too many crazy changes to it because, like I said, I'm just trying to show the basics of it. I'm not trying to get insane here and do a bunch of crazy stuff that might break my game. So, I thankfully didn't notice too much bumpiness in the road. Maybe a couple of these like upward hills may need a little bit of smoothing out. And this is where the rotate tool comes in. This is where you can manipulate some nodes. Oop, that's a track mesh. We want to select a specific node. You can rotate it a little bit just to go at like a better, a smoother angle perhaps. So we can just kind of do this, as you can see. I didn't do it earlier simply because I was just trying to keep it as flat as possible, but we can do some fun stuff here. So let's smooth out this corner a little bit. Let's just make sure there's not a lot of bumpiness, because if you do manipulate this track too much, there will be a little bit of bumpiness. That just is what happens sometimes. We don't want that node. We don't want that one. It is hard to tell which node is which when you're manipulating the track, but you'll probably learn it pretty quickly if you just like click around a little bit. I want to touch this corner a little bit. See, yeah, this one. Because they're all named new node, it's hard to tell like which one is which. Let's maybe not that. Smooth this out a little bit. It really is going to be a lot of trial and error when you're making your track to race around, make sure it's all okay. Manipulating this space, like this just blank white space we're in, it's kind of creepy, honestly, now that we've deleted the terrain and everything. But it's no big deal. It's better than manipulating the track in the middle of the desert level where the terrain and the geometry are completely gonna mess with you. because if the AI were to race around this track with the terrain and geometry everywhere, they would get stuck. They literally don't know what to do besides race around the track, and if the track interferes with the world around you, that's obviously not good. We do not want that. So those are the basics of manipulating the track. I'm quite happy with what we've got here. I do want to ask, are there any questions right now? Are there any concerns, anything about what we've done so far? We don't have a lot more to cover today. We're just going to be racing around a couple more times, doing a few more adjustments, and I will answer any questions you guys have. And also, worth mentioning, I would love to see your guys' tracks as well. Once you start getting into the program and manipulating them, I would love to see what you guys come up with. Like I said, you can do some pretty extreme things in here if you want to. It won't break the game too much just because of how well designed the track editor is. It's quite easy to use and everything. But if things do break, then make sure you've done a save as and make a copy of the scene, make sure that the whole thing is saved properly, and also just keep a full blank copy of the imported assets and just the base game as it is. That goes for if you're modding the cars too, because if you get a problem like we had last time with like the weird lightning effect and then everything got weird, it's definitely good to have like a base version of your game and make sure that that stays clean and untouched and functional. So yeah, are there any questions right now? I'm just gonna race around again, make sure things aren't weird. We're gonna exit prefab mode again. Yeah, you can see the items continuously move, and again, we will change that when we polish them. You can also, just for reference, change their model as well. It's pretty much the same process as changing the kart racer, but again, we'll show that when we eventually polish this game and get it looking exactly how we want it to. So this is, again, playing quite smoothly. You'll definitely notice if there's any bumpiness in your game. It's not, yeah, you can see there was a little bit of bumpiness. Your car kind of bounces a tiny bit, a little bit there around this corner too, but generally it's looking okay. It's playing fine. The AI is not getting super confused. I mean, they are beating me right now, so that should definitely say something. We got a wide turn here. We're slowing down a little bit. That's fine. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this so far. We haven't made any insane changes. Obviously, this place hasn't been touched at all because the items are still there. We missed that guy. Oh well. Oh, we are in last, folks. That's fine. Oh, there was something weird going on there. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but there was some. Oh, now we're in first. Great. All right, lap complete. We are in first. I'm gonna say we won that whole thing. So we saw like a weird graphical glitch back there, and I don't know if that has to do with the track or just something weird that happened when they used the item. I'm gonna assume it was something with the item because it was one of these modified racer models. So let's just keep that in mind and make sure that our models behave okay when we go to polish it. So in general, I'm happy with this track. I think it's pretty close to what I envisioned for, again, like the valley kind of valley drive, backroads drive sort of theme that we want to go for. And so now all that's really left is to make sure that the track is playing okay, which I think it is. There are some bumpy parts that we can fix in the polish phase, but for now, I think that's pretty much it. Unless you guys have any questions or concerns or want to see something specific that I can do to the track today, that is pretty much all that I had to show you guys. Like I said, the race manager system with the nodes and everything is very smooth. It's a really, really a really cool system that makes it very easy to change the track and pretty much do whatever you want to it. Like I said, you can rotate it, you can move it, and it moves the whole thing exactly how you need it to where you can still drive it. So it's really hard to just straight up break the track. There you can do some cool things with the terrain as well. You can make tunnels, you can, like I said, make obstacles, but that's more so a thing that you do in Blender. You import it and then you place it in the track. And just be warned, if you do that and the AI gets stuck on it, they are just stuck. They will not really know what to do. So we're gonna address that in a future stream though, and make sure that if that happens, we'll be able to address it properly. So right now, are there any questions, concerns, anything that I can go over right now or go over again that we can talk about? And if not, I think we will be ending shortly. So, any questions, ask away. If there's any concerns, now is the time to ask. But yeah, pretty basic stuff, pretty fun. I love just coming in here and messing with the track, making it look however I want to, messing with the cars. It's all, the vision is coming together. Most definitely, it's coming together. So, yeah, if there are no questions, I think we are ready to end things off. A little bit of a shorter stream, but that's okay. Um, and yeah, as usual, I thank you guys for being here. I'm really excited to be showing you guys this project and walking you guys through making this game your own, because that is quite literally what it was engineered to do, is to be your guys' own thing, be make your vision of your perfect kart racer come to life, pretty much. So tomorrow, if things go according to plan, we will hopefully be messing with the terrain and the geometry again to make the level not look like a blank white path here. There's quite literally nothing here. Kind of creepy to race around in, so we're going to be hopefully doing some skybox stuff if we can. We'll be messing with the terrain, and we will be making this level look a little bit more like a real level and not just like a blank white space that we're for no reason racing around in. We're gonna see if we can do that. So thank you guys very much for watching as usual. And if there are any questions or concerns, please reach out to me on Discord. Please also show me your kart projects if you can. Show me what you're working on and maybe your vision. And if you need some help talking about it or talking through it, we can do that too. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will meet with all of you again soon. See ya.